That is the sound of me being hungover. Thanks, Petro, for the beautiful musics. Hello. How's it going? I need to... Oh my god. How do I click buttons? That one? Is that my face? Hey. Hi. How's it going? My friends say that my glasses add 10 years to me, which I think's harsh because I feel like I look much older than I am anyway. I'm dead. How is everyone doing today? I went out last night to have some sushi with a couple of my best mates. We went out afterwards. But not out. We did go out clubbing and we did dance and drank quite a bit. I suppose we did go out. Yeah, but I drank a bit too much. Well, you know, still reasonable, like nothing excessive. I would have stayed out a lot later had they not forced me to come home. They were like, we're taking you home. Oh, I would want to go. It's like, well, we're drunk, so you must be drunk. I was like, yeah, I probably am, but I want to stay. And they went, nope, don't be an idiot. So I went home. And that's the story of my yesterday. I woke up and everything sort of like aches. My knees hurt because I was dancing so much. Quite like to dance if anyone's seen me out in real life clubbing. Some people that have gone to BritizonCon and CitizenCon probably would have potentially. It's a sight to behold. But how is everyone? Everyone going good? The Heartseeker is coming out in 3.5. I purchased an upgrade for my Super Hornet to make a Heartseeker, just because I like the skin on the loadout. It was only like $15 more or something. Yeah, there's lots of quite cool stuff coming with 3.5. Thinking about it now, like flight model, Art Corp, load of new missions because of that in that area at least. So we'll expand the gameplay area out quite a lot. Art Corp is very exciting to me. And there's a load of new systems, and there's the DNA customizer and female characters. There's quite a lot going on there. It's a shame about the Banu Defender getting pushed back. I did want it in 3.5. I thought it would have been cool to have an alien ship, especially the first Banu ship in game. I'll be selling my car and getting a carrot next time it goes on sale. Or as the homeless guy down the street has on his sign, sale. Oh. Oh. J-Birds, I would keep your car. Well, actually, that's odd. I would not keep your car. I don't have a car. I don't drive. And the amount of money I save every month is insane. However, I don't leave my house much. I realised I probably left the house in total 6 times this year. So you can work out how unhealthy or healthy that might be. I did go on my treadmill. I go in the garden. I go in the garden, but I haven't left my property. If you see what I mean. Do not like I don't like the outside world, or at least I like working. It's probably a better thing. I just got used to staying inside. Yeah, I know. You know when you're old, when your knees just hurt when you wake up in the morning, like, oh, my joints, like my guts are all sore. Board, do you think there will be a ship sale when 3.5 is released? Yes, pliable ship sale. I'm expecting as well at the end of March probably a concept sale or a new ship sale as well. Potentially 3.5 is going to have like a secret flyable ship in. They occasionally do that. That's not confirmation. That's not even rumoured other than from me there. Sometimes they do that sort of stuff. Like what they did with the Valkyrie, for example. There's potential that something could be there. And the reason I say that is because they're doing the 300 sort of like rework with 3.5, and they're also selling it in a new way. So I thought maybe they'd have like a Origin 335C, it's like a cargo variant of the 300 series, or something else. Will the Lear's system eventually come out? Yes. So Lear is one of the systems that they will be doing. Hasn't been worked on in 2 years though. So we saw Lear 3 where the Sandworm was in 2016's CitizenCon, I think it was. It was a very cool little demo of the version 2 of Procedural Planets. However, they said they hadn't worked on the Lear system for the last years. However, they've worked on a lot of the supporting tech and extra biomes and everything. So in a sense, they've worked on all the systems to quite a high level. That they have to build out these new biomes, they have to build out their procedural tech, they have to build out their cities, their assets, and all those sort of like library. So once they've got all of that done, they will be able to rapidly build out those other systems and planets. I wouldn't expect the Lear system as one of the first few systems we have. So I'm thinking after the Stanton system, we'll get Magnus and Pyro, and then potentially Nyx. Board, do you think G4 system is a good example of feature creep, or will this add real value to the game at release? Don't really know yet. We'll have to talk about that once we have the new flight model in our hands and we're testing it. Because, I mean, it's not really feature creep reworks and the changes and stuff like that. They're not feature creep. It's not like it's a rework. And you could argue that the way they're developing the game, they have far too many reworks, but it's not really feature creep, in my opinion anyway. And it might add awesome value to the game. It might not. We need to test it, mess around with it. One of the things is obviously with the new flight model and everything. I am not allowed to talk about the specifics of what's being tested in the Evocati, other than, you know, they are testing the flight model. They've announced that. And we can talk about the RTV and what I think about the flight model that was shown on RTV, but I'm not going to... Well, yeah, I don't think they get annoyed even if I did, but I won't. I won't break NDA. What feature are you most excited for in 3.6 and onwards? In 3.6... What have we got in 3.6? Let's show you what I'm showing on my screen. Hard stuff. We should get big rest stops and larger rest stops, which is cool. Lots of NPC improvements. Weapon attachments is pretty cool. Black market economy is pretty cool. Ship rentals. Ship rentals is probably the biggest thing for me, because that allows so much accessibility to people testing ships and reasons to play the game. That's absolutely huge. Lots of animation and movement things, degradation, misfires. The law system, that's massive. Hopefully will give us some more interesting bounty hunting, but the law system should give us more reasons to be outlaws or lawful or in between or bounty hunting people. 890 jump. Really excited for the 890 jump. Really want to see the Warden updates. Have any cool weapons? Missile launcher, pretty cool. Wanted a missile launcher for ages. What have we got in core tech at the moment? Procedural Asteroids version 2 is huge. Actually, the client to server actor networking rework. Improvements to the upstream part of the actor networking responsible for communicating player actions from local client to server. This will pave the way for downstream improvements and solve a variety of validation issues. Could that also be hit reg and animation problems with the jittering and judder? Could that be fixing that as well, or helping fix that? That's pretty cool if it is. Interested to see exactly what harvestable entity spawning and the ecosystem improvements are. But yeah. Beyond that, physicalized inventories is massive. Is that in 3.8 now? 7. Physicalized inventories is in 3.7. I'm a little bit hungover today, so I'm unable to hold any information in my brain. That's absolutely massive. That means no more infinite bags of holding. You'll have to use the lockers and stuff in your ships and store items in certain places to have those items there. You won't be able to carry all your armor on you at once, sort of thing. You'll have to actually have it being worn by you. What else have we got? Anything else exciting I'm really excited for? PvP bounties should be pretty cool. Lots of people excited about the Cutlass Red. Laser cannon sounds cool. Oh, the sign distance fields for shield tech. So this will have shields wrapping around the body of your ship much more appropriately. And I believe if you lose parts of your ship, it will wrap around that. But it will be much closer. It will look a lot cooler is the idea with the sign distance field shield tech stuff. And beyond that, salvage, I think, is probably the other major thing I'm looking forward to. And Microtech, that will be cool. Damn right. I'm much more looking forward to Arc Corp, though. But we will get back on topic, and I suppose, well, this is on topic. I suppose we're just talking about Star Citizen in general. I mean, it would be cool to have the Prowler. I'm very surprised the Prowler's actually coming out this year, a Tavaran ship. Hull C is going to be awesome. I swore then. I'm surprised we're not seeing Titan suits this year. Obviously, they are in the Squadron 42 roadmap for this year. It'll take time to bring over. When will the persistent universe start? So, at some point, they're going to release every 3 months. They're going to release a major update. So, end of March, end of June, September to November, sort of like between then, because of CitizenCon, and end of December. Bam. That's the plan every 3 months. Now that might change a little tiny bit. They might some stuff might get pushed around dates-wise, but that's typically what they want to do. 4 big releases a year, and they want to do that indefinitely. Eventually, there'll be no more resets, because at the moment, every one of those major patches and some minor patches, they have a big reset. Bam, everything that you bought with in-game currency all your in-game currency, just go. And they reset the databases, all your items, all that sort of stuff. So you go back to what was on your account at the start. Now, eventually, no more resets. We need a few things to happen before that becomes a reality. We need the 3 pillars to be finished, or at least 2 of those 3 pillars to be finished, being organization features, which would include sort of like group features, mission sharing, stuff like that as well. But it's also going to be looking at actually administering orgs and working out how all those group functions work. And then there's full persistence, which is the server being able to save persistent data, pause it, that sort of stuff. Really, as well, we need all the server tech online for that to work. So we need the server-side object container streaming, much more optimized servers, and that will allow more players on the servers. And it's quite possible they will wait before no more resets until they've got server meshing done. So server meshing is literally the stitching together of multiple servers that can dynamically spin up and spin down based on the population of an area, and they have seamless travel between them. So you can have a room run by an entire server, and then outside of that room run by another server, and then you could have sections of space, planets, whatever, run by one or more servers based on the population of that area. It just splits these sections up into blocks, you move between them, and then the bottleneck is how many players can you get into a small space that only one server can run. So a single room, how many people can you get into that space? So we don't know when no more resets will happen and the game will be effectively live, but it's not in the too distant future. It's going to be after those things are done. They're not on the roadmap for this year to be done. I'm expecting that we might see some iterations of like full persistence and laying the groundwork for server meshing between now and end of next year sort of stuff. Just kind of take that as you want it. BoredGamer, try rollerblading, miniature golfing, or bowling. Is that only an American thing? It's like going outside, but not really. I'm not socially awkward, Huntress. I love talking to people. I'm overly social, if anything. Again, if people have met me, they know I'm pretty hello. Just not running around. I feel guilty when I go out and don't work. I like working. It keeps me sane. When I'm not working, I like to socialise and chat. Play board games or whatever. I'm a massive geek. Friday will also see an exciting contest kick-off celebrating this year's St. Patrick's Day. A word on the street, they'll be promoting a promotion as well. So get your party pants on and get ready to go green. This is from this week's this is from this week in Star Citizen. What do you think they mean by promotion? They'll have some form of St. Patrick's Day ship sale. Last year they had the Emerald Constellation they want on sale on St. Patrick's Day, I believe. So they might be selling that again, or they might be having some other St. Patrick's Day ships or skins or something. That would be my expectation. They could have a sale on multiple ships. It could just be skins. Have I checked Shadow on RSI telemetry yet? Yes, I did some quite a while ago, actually, with a couple of other people. They gave me all their telemetry on their Shadow system as well. What I'll be doing is I'll be, as soon as 3.5 goes to first wave PTU, I will test it with Shadow and see what I'm getting with it for that, because that's going to be a lot more relevant now. I love you, Alfred. You know, I haven't really used the mining laser to blow people's ships up. No. But maybe I should. Hey, Bob, do you have any info on the dynamic mission system plan for 3.8? So you say dynamic mission system. Dynamic mission system allows mission offering locations, rewards, and other parameters to be dynamically dictated based on guidance from the back-end simulation and player actions, which in turn enables a more systemic universe. So it's just going to be the modular selection of missions, and there'll be more variety in that. You'll have more and different missions, and those rewards will vary. It's just a more robust version of what we have in game already, I suspect. And you'll get different rewards, actually not just UEC. like that. But it'll be pretty simple. It will be an evolution of what we currently have. Hopefully giving a lot more variety in the sort of like replayability for those missions. I'm hoping that it does really open up the modular sections of missions. So every mission's got like 5 or more little modules, and that can be like you getting intercepted when you're going somewhere. The mission can have multiple sort of like get this AI blade or whatever, but it can have multiple blades here, or the blade's been destroyed, or it's fallen over here, or some NPCs have got it, or another player's going for it as well. And then it can end in multiple different ways as well. So all these different modular pieces which sort of like get stuck together. Any news on ship customization in 3.5? I want to repaint my saber. Nope. We know that they're doing something that's going to be on the website for the 300 series that might then propagate to all the other ships. But we don't know exactly what that is. It is some form of customization. Yes, that was the Constellation Aquila. Aquila. When do you think we will see the Mercury Star Runner as a flyable ship? I think we'll start to see more of that ship later, at the very end of this year. I expect they'll start working on it. I wouldn't expect to see that Mercury Star Runner until next year. Flyable. And probably towards the end of next year. 300 series rework still planned. Next update, right? Yes, still planned for 3.5 currently. We know when the HUD color will be able to be customized. And we actually saw that ages ago, didn't we? The Mobiglass and HUD sort of like color changes. We don't know when that's going to happen. They'll add and expose more and more of these sort of like things to us eventually. We're not 100% sure if we will be able to change the color, but it's pretty close to 100%. Like, people would be up in arms if you couldn't. Sort of a very basic customization that they've already shown that they can do. You know what will be the next planet that we will have? That will somewhat resemble the Lear demo, more like Earth. I mean, all the biomes on all the planets have some similarities with Earth. No, I don't know what the next... I don't know what the next Earth-type planet will be. I mean, Hurston's reasonably close in my opinion. Obviously, it doesn't have deserts. It doesn't have ice caps and things. I suppose you do want... you want kind of all of those biomes, don't you, really, to make it Earth-like? No, I don't know. Greetings from Denmark. Greetings from the UK's. Pre-Brexit UK's. Gameplay mechanics shouldn't be fully implemented until the game is out of alpha. Agree or disagree? Well, they're going to require balance, whatever. I think that that's not mutually exclusive to have gameplay mechanics finished before it's out of alpha. Because they could have some finished, some not, before it goes out of alpha. I suppose, really, a game is out of alpha once they've got all of its core and it sort of works. So, depends on how you define it, doesn't it?
Ah, dodging bullets like fucking
beautiful.
I expect they will maintain a live branch of the game and a sort of like PTU permanent branch eventually. Especially when the game's sort of like live, they'll have to have a test universe set up for those patches. Do you think Terra Prime's going to be Earth-like? Potentially. I suspect that when it comes to Earth and Terra, that we're actually in-game now, they're going to be huge city planets. So they'll be mostly city with some sea and little tiny like splotches of other biome, but mostly city. What I thought I heard after 3.6, no more resets. Nope, you heard wrong. That's incredibly unlikely to happen. They need a lot of stuff to come together, which won't be finished this year. They did want to have like full persistence and the start of server meshing and that sort of stuff done this year, but that's very, very unlikely. Not currently on the roadmap. Regarding persistent inventory, will be some place to store a rifle or box on combat ships. Some of them, yeah, some of them have gun racks. Some of them you could store on you. Some of them have storage and some of them do not. Also, they will, on certain ships, be adding some additional little tiny bits of storage for like weapons and things. They have talked about that previously. I'm not sure exactly what ships are getting that or not, but I have heard that. Rumoured, citation needed. Hey Board, do you have any info on the dynamic with talks? Ask 3 times and rub your screen for answer. Wow. I've already talked about that. Will the network object container streaming stall fixes increase performance in case of RAM issues? Potentially. It depends on exactly what those fixes are and does it fix any of the additional sort of like memory leaks and hitching stuff. So potentially. I'm not privy to exactly what they do and what the stall fixes are. I also suspect they can't hurt. Yeah, it probably will. Thinking about it, it probably will fix VRAM and system memory as well, because the way that the stall fixes work, as far as I understand it, thinking about it, is that they load in the assets more sensibly. So it should help with that. And I will look into it. Obviously, the problems they were having was that when you quantum traveled from one area to another, that when it loaded out all of that data and loaded in all the new data, it would cause hitching and pausing. So, is the new coming gimbal assist going to be a toggleable option? Yes, Isaac. The gimbal assist that's like auto gimbal, what the fuck it is now. So I think there's 2 different gimbal things they have been working on, as far as I am sort of aware. I believe they've sort of like dumbed down combat slightly and have converging gimbals. So even if you've got lots of different weapons, it will try and make all of the weapons fire at the same pip. I think. Again, citation needed. Wait until it's balanced for combat. That might not be what they're doing anymore, but I thought that's what they were doing. And then there's the gimbal sort of like aim assist, which tries to point your gimbals at your target, as long as they can, as long as they're not fixed guns, as long as they're within its sort of like area of influence of the gimbal assist, which won't have as much of an angular range as turning those gimbals onto manual. So if you are manually aiming, you will be able to move out slightly more. And there's obviously, there might potentially be tracking times involved, but there will be tracking times involved with the gimbal assist as well. But you can concentrate more on flying and much more easily aim at a target. Some people might love that, some people might hate that, but it's going to be toggleable, and I'm almost 100% sure the best option will be to manually aim, in most situations anyway, because you'll be able to more precisely control where you're shooting, the sort of like, you'll want to start taking out systems. The ships are going to start to have no more health pools or anything anymore, and it's all going to be to do with destroying systems and that sort of stuff. Taking the shields down and then targeting individual systems to weaken a ship, disable a ship. At what point do you think Star Citizen will stop selling ships? I don't think they will stop selling ships. This sort of like original plan was to, when the game was released, that they would stop selling the large variety of ships they have, and they just sort of like keep it down to game packages. I don't think they should really. They are effectively selling ships with in-game currency with UEC because they want to be selling UEC. That's one of the plans. So why not sell ships? You could limit the range. It's the same thing. It's much of a muchness. I know that might cause some people anger, and I'm willing to listen to other debates on that. And I'm also willing to not sort of like say, this is fine, because some people aren't going to agree with that, and I don't want to sort of like impose my beliefs on other people. However, that is what I do believe when it comes to that. I wouldn't mind if they stopped selling ships, though. Don't really care. Just think it's a silly marketing idea to not. What I'd potentially like to see is them continue to make concept ships and do it like Warframe does with the Prime frames. So you can, they're studio concept ships, and you can buy a concept ship, and once it's ready, you get it as soon as it's ready in game. And do that as a single one-off sale. But they'll be selling game packages anyway. They'll be selling UBC anyway, so it's the same thing. So this video we're watching is the V2 procedural planets from 2016. Thought it was nice to see again. Interesting biomes that aren't in the game properly yet. Do you think the 890 jump will be on sale or at 3.6? And do you think it will still be $890? Yeah, I don't know. The 890 jump has become quite a big beast. I think it's around 200 meters now. And it was originally listed as 70, then 123. It's a beast of a ship. I do expect it will go on sale with 3.6. Probably as a limited amount of hulls. Will CIG ever implement static cams to film ship flybys? We don't know what they're going to be doing with the news van and the Mako stuff. They've got the tech to do some quite cool things, and obviously the Star Citizen is very pretty, and there's some quite good camera options already, but there's going to be an in-game filming mechanic, and we're not entirely sure how that will work. So they might give us some more static cams. They might give us some additional camera controls, and the news filming stuff for the Mako and however else they do it may allow you to do some deployable cameras or something. Do you think they're still adding people to the Evocati who didn't pay like 20k or something? Thanks for all the great content. Comment, really enjoy it. Content. The Evocati haven't necessarily put a fuck ton of money in. There's some Evocati people I know that have just got a starter pack. In fact, I don't know the ratio of whales to not whales in the Evocati. However, the Evocati typically are the ones that aren't leaking, are very, very, very good at giving their time and giving feedback. That's the main thing. The reason they were chosen is because they were playing a load of the PTUs and giving good feedback on the issue council, or at least lots of feedback on the issue council originally. It's not to do with how much money they spent. However, I suspect there is correlation with the amount of money spent and being Evocati, because that typically the people that spent a lot of money were probably more into the game and more willing to put more of their time into it. That was what I'd expect to say. Correlation, but not causation. Regarding persistent inventory, we talked about that. I've gone back up to the top. Blah, blah, blah. I'm having trouble getting streaming set up through my Shadow. Any tips? No. I mean, yes, but I'll have to go into a whole different mode. You can check out their Discord for specific help and fixes. There'll be people there literally to help you live now. They've got a live chat thing on the website as well, I think. But Discord's the best thing I found. You can email them as well. If you are having problems like tomorrow or something still, I'll try and answer stuff. I don't stream, like as in stream like I'm streaming now through Shadow. I know a lot of people do. I know it works really well for them. I haven't really done it because I've got a dedicated setup for it. Maybe I should actually try and do it properly. So that I can actually have an article for it. When are we getting orbiting planets? So Yella, Hurston, ArcCorp, etc. Can have varying travel times. Seems like something that's not that hard to do considering everything else they're doing. Oh, dev code. It's incredibly hard to have planets rotating and orbiting because they also then have to have the quantum travel system, be able to keep up with this, like the splines and stuff. So they have to have splined paths which change, and it gets a lot more complicated, as far as I'm aware. It might not be something they do until they have better server tech. Obviously, some other stuff does need to come online. They want to get the object container streaming server side stuff done. They have to have these giant fucking masses floating around, and then have to work out what happens when you're in there. What range of being in that atmosphere means you're part of them, because otherwise you're going to get hit by planets. Things like that. There's some weird bugs that could occur as well. So it is quite complex, and could probably cause a lot of problems. They are working on it as far as I'm aware. I just don't know when it is. It's not on the roadmap at the moment, but that doesn't mean that it's not already planned for this year. If they end up making servers regional, and I claim I land on one server, what do you think will happen to any kind of progress like onto another server? Well, if they make servers regional and actually have hard servers with different names, then your land claim is only on your server. They do it that way. And they probably will do that way until later on in the project. There probably will be regional servers until they get server streaming, until server meshing done. And it's potentially, they might not get server meshing done in the way that they want, so they might have to always have regional servers. What if we kill the player that stole and destroy the blade? What? Huh? Oh, that might be something you could do on one of those missions, yes. So, and also, there might be like people doing missions and they have valuable items, like these server blades might have value as well, so people will rob them, try and kill them, that aren't part of those missions. Would we be able to go to the toilet out in the world where there are no such facilities? I don't think urinating and pooping will be a action that you can do without a toilet, effectively. Literally, the use of a toilet is the way you relieve yourself. However, I suspect it's not that important, or maybe it counts as your character resting, or whatever, because they might... there's going to be light survival mechanics. And we know that NPCs will want to rest, relax, sleep. Otherwise, they get less effective as time goes on. But players will definitely need to eat and drink. Do you think we will have underwater exploration or ships floating on top of water? I believe they've been working on buoyancy, or at least been discussing buoyancy of ships. Underwater exploration, I do think, will be a thing eventually, because why the fuck not? They're doing cave systems. Why not do underwater exploration as well? You can do it simply. It doesn't have to be like Subnautica. It doesn't even have to be like the land on top of Star Citizen. However, when it comes to water stuff, it's the same as surface stuff, really, but with a liquid on top of it. They can just have their procedural sort of like assets and procedural tech dealing with that, and then occasionally have a point of interest. That's why I do it. Have wrecks under the water. That already. Does everyone have more than 8 gigs of VRAM? I think I have 8 gigs. My card, my 1080 Ti. Bragor. Shaking fist at YouTube. BoredGamer live stream started and I received no notifications. Yeah, I don't like bringing politics into games where possible. There are definitely games. I'll just very briefly talk about this. I don't want to get on any fucking side of any of this bullshit. However, there are certainly games where it is good to explore politics. There are games that are suited for that and are part of the narrative, and that is fine. However, I like to keep politics that are imposed by other people out of games when I play them. That's not typically why I enjoy a particular game. However, there certainly are some games where you can explore politics, and that's good. So, say that. It's all an art form, isn't it? Games are an art form. Games are a place to relax and have fun and chill. or to get really stressed like I do in Apex Legends occasionally. Modularity and multi-role have always been a big theme in Star Citizen. How much do you think that will affect the uniqueness of ships? Will they use their identities if a ship can do anything? Yes. You need ships to be, some of them have a focus. You need modularity to allow ships to do slightly different things, but within the focus of that ship. And yeah, you might have some modules that allow them to multi-role or jack of all trades or do some other bits and bobs. But you shouldn't have all ships exactly the same or be able to change all ships to do all roles and that sort of stuff. It's not necessarily they will lose their identities. It's that then there's no point in having any particular ship that you need. You need that uniqueness. But it is losing their identities. You were right. Shut up. What are the chances of getting the Orion into the game in 2019? So low that I would put money on it not being in 2019. There's no way the Orion would be in 2019. Unless it's secretly needed for Squadron 42. I had people talking about CIG eventually getting on a third person. What's your take on that? So I'm happy with them having third person. However, I want like a drone or a camera or something to show that you're in third person. So the issue is that if you're in third person, you can use that to your advantage. Yeah? And it's less immersive. So how do you deal with that? You have a drone flying behind you that allows you to go into third person. And when you're like leaning around a wall, because you're in third person, you can see someone there. They can see your drone floating there because it's looking around the corner for you. And you have to EMP them or shoot them or at least to know that the person's there. So I'm good with third person. However, I want there a reason. I want it to be I want it to be diegetic is the word I'm looking for. I want it to be part of the universe. That's my take on it. Because you're still going to want the camera controls to take screenshots and stuff, aren't you? Oh, no more third person, no more being able to take screenshots with the camera controls. That'd be bullshit. Like, oh, you can only take camera controls if you've got a shoulder-mounted camera. That's a bit, maybe I could see that. Or a drone. Drone sounds cool to me. How many Evocati are there? I believe there are 1,800. They do occasionally add more to the Evocati's ranks. 890 jump, merchantmen on the Carrack. Will they have issues leaving normal-sized planets like Earth? On none of the promotional art did they have those ships needing a tow to achieve orbit. So Earth gravity of 1. Probably not. The merchantman Carrack and 890 jump, I would suspect, will be able to leave those planets as long as they are not overburdened. So what I mean by that, as long as you haven't changed their thrusters for shit thrusters, or they're not jam-packed with the heaviest fucking unobtainium known to man or womankind. But Earth gravity, I suspect they probably will be able to leave. Going to be some situations, damaged ships, certain ships, very big ships. They are not going to be able to easily leave the orbits of certain planets based on their mass, based on the planet's mass, based on the gravity and atmosphere, based on damage. Has there been any news or info on the 890 spawn and refuel locations? Can you be more specific about that? I don't know what you mean by spawn and refuel locations when you're referring to the 890 jump. Thank you very much. Great job on the 890 jump video. Thank you. I've got a big list of stuff and I was going, oh, I'll do the 890 jump one today. And I did a little searching around because I always like to do the research. I go to like Star Citizen Tools. I look through all of the original articles and see if there's anything on Reddit recently about the ships and then go through all the ATVs and that sort of stuff and grab all the clips I can. And it just so happened that Joran and Homer had just updated a load of information on the ship. And I was like, oh, fucking win. Some of the stuff I actually didn't have in my notes. It was really, really good. So big ups to them as well. Would the planets rotate around the sun? Orbit the sun, yes. They rotate currently, but they are planning to orbit, which causes a lot of issues. Do you expect Microtech's snow quality similar to the new technology used by Rockstar's in Red Dead Redemption 2? I don't know what that is. I know what the game is, but I don't know what the snow quality is like there. I suspect it will be reasonable snow quality. It will look pretty cool. It'll make a crunchy sound. You'll leave footprints in it. When I think of cool tech, I actually think of Conan. Conan Exiles, was it? The Conan Rust-like game. And when you went onto the sand in the large desert, you'd sink in it and you could drag people through it. And that was pretty cool. Are they going to make adjustments to how the game uses CPU? I've noticed that it doesn't utilize all my cores. Yes, they are scaling it, so it will use as many cores as it has available to it eventually, I believe. I think that will be at least 16, but I believe it's going to be scaling to as many cores as possible. And you'll just see more and more improvements as they go along with it. Would we be able to see more than just one pattern of the bunkers and Hurston's bunker missions? They're the same every time. There will eventually be more variants to bunkers and underground missions and stuff like that. Do you think the community will generally have a positive response to the new flight model in 3.5 when it goes live? Yes, I think generally, from what they've shown in RTV, it will be, well, it depends if it's how buggy it is when it's in PTU and live, doesn't it? If it's buggy, people hate it. However, assuming it gets all the bugs ironed out and stuff, I think it will generally be positive. However, I think there will be a small vocal minority that fucking hate it and basically declare that Star Citizen's dead because of it. I think that's what will happen. And in fact, I would bet money on that exact circumstance. A few people will be like, look at this, I didn't pay for this. And they'll just say it in general with like talking about non-precise things, or maybe they talk about precise things and just say it's shit, not what they wanted. I think it's got potential though, quite genuinely. It needs to all come together. It needs to not be a buggy piece of shit. It needs to be balanced for combat. Balance of combat might not actually come until 3.6, maybe. So, do you think your character simply having access to toilet, shower, and kitchen on or offline will be enough to avoid debuffs, or will we always need to click on food, shower, toilet? I'm hoping that when you're offline, if you have facilities, that it's assumed that your character washes, eats, showers, sleeps. That was what my hope would be. I'd hope that, and if we do need to eat and drink and wash, then I'm hoping that that is handled sensibly and that I don't need to do it very often. I don't want to play Star Citizen and have to eat significantly more frequently in game than I do in real life. I don't want to be playing for 4 hours and having to eat 4 times. Is it possible to transfer in-game ship purchases to a player account, avoiding resets? You can transfer bought ships that you bought with real money that are on your account, gift them, as long as you bought them with real money and not store credit. You can't transfer stuff that you've purchased in-game to avoid resets. Everyone gets reset at the same time. Considering we're going to have agriculture, farming veggies, do you think they might implement a cooking system? Oh. Maybe, somehow-ish. I suppose you'll need food to be able to eat in your ships and stuff. Put them like in a kitchen and then eat it. So, potentially a cooking system of some description, or, yeah. Might not be an in-depth one. Might not be, I'm cooking this. It might just be you've got food in your kitchen. You can then use the microwave. I don't know. Bloody good point. AI tools for NPCs, humans and aliens, will be the same but different behavior. AI animals will need different tools. And what interaction will animals have with objects? So they've talked about this before. AI in general will have schedules, 24-hour daily ones, whether they're humans or animals or other aliens or whatever. That's the sort of idea. And this will be simulated in sort of like the cloud or whatever until they're actually needed to be physicalized. Or there's random chance modifiers and that sort of stuff that you'll encounter these and there, spawn them, and then physicalize them. With animals, they're going to be hunting, drinking, eating, sleeping, rubbing their backs on trees, so they'll interact with rocks and objects and things like that. They'll have particular animations for them as well. That's the idea behind that. Nothing super complex. You know, in terms of multiplayer cargo runs, how will pay be distributed to commander and crew? No, I don't know exactly, Seth, how that will be distributed. I know the plan is to have missions to be shareable. So what happens is you're in a party with someone, the mission leader then has access to everyone that is part of that party's missions and can share them with the whole group. I'm not sure if it just then instantly shares any money you make, between all of you, or if it's set by the party leader. I hope it would be set by the party leader and everyone can agree to it. Or eventually we'll probably have a very robust contract system as well, auto-enforce stuff. You'll be able to say, once this mission's complete, I get paid this, things like that. Also, we need to be able to send money to each other and send ships to each other in-game. They could do that now, and they just have to reset that every major update at the moment. That's what I'd hope we'd get soon anyway. How do you think the ship customization will work? I believe you briefly mentioned a ship furniture store or something like that for Arc Corp in 3.5. Yes, so there is Abernathy Interiors, I think it's called, which is basically like an IKEA, a furniture shop. That they've mentioned that being Arc Corp at some point. It's in the lore. They've also had some concept pictures of that. I think we'll have interior and exterior customization of ships. The interior customization might literally just be you can change out tables and module like desks and things for other bits. We might have more sort of like we can change the materials and the carpets and stuff like that as well. That would be cool. I do expect that we will have that at some point. Exteriors are going to be you're going to be able to change obviously the weapons and items and all that sort of stuff, but also paint your ship. Beyond that, you'll obviously be able to put skins on your ship, which are slightly different from paints. Like we have skins now for some of the ships. We don't know the exact sort of like precisely what's going to be exposed for interior and exterior customization yet. Have you had any information about Shadow PC can work in Denmark? I thought it could. Maybe it can't at the moment. Maybe they're rolling out soon. I will find out for you. It's worth poking them about it. If you go on their Discord, they'll give you an answer straight away. Sure if this is answered, but will Star Citizen ever for King come out full release? After the amount of money they have made, they could have made 5 AAA games, in my opinion. Byron, Harry, you need to be in charge of the budgets of AAA games. If you think you can make 5 AAA games for the amount of money they've got. Star Citizen hasn't made that much money, when you, all things considered, okay? They had to build a load of studios as well. If they were a fully developed studio straight away, like Rockstar or Blizzard or something, and they were given that money as a glut, they should have been able to make the game a lot quicker and easier. But they had to sort of like crowdsource a load of money, build a load of studios, start from like what 5 employees, and then go all the way up to 500 that they're currently at, and they're seeking 600 in total at the moment. And they're building 2 games. Squadron 42 potentially could be coming out next year. In fact, it's scheduled to be in beta at the 2nd quarter of 2020 at the moment. That could get pushed back. We'll have to wait and see. But that means probable release end of 2020. So that's coming out. Star Citizen, they're going to release major update every 3 months indefinitely, and it will be a live game once there's no more resets, basically, once they have full persistence in and potentially server meshing in as well. But that's when I'm going to consider it done. Well, not done. They need to have a huge amount of gameplay area. They're going to need to add a load more gameplay mechanics, but that's when the game's going to be live, and I'll be playing it a fuck ton, rather than just a good amount. I play Star Citizen maybe at the moment 8 hours a week. Not a huge amount compared to what I used to. When 3.5 comes out, I'll probably play it double, triple that. What's your opinion on the Vanguard tweaks? Necessary. The Vanguards weren't operating as intended. I know every chip was changing in their new flight model. Anyway, I like the idea of all of the Vanguards getting the ramp that the Hoplite has. And then reworking the central modules. We'll have to see what that's like. Do we think we'll see the Mercury Star on this year? No, not flyable. We might see some more on it towards the end of the year. For Cockpit 3, do you think CIG will offer a small mirror so I can see passengers and stowaways sneaking up at me to shoot me mid-flight? Maybe. You might get a bit of mirror flare that you can use that for. There will be permissions and security systems and stations to help prevent that. You can have certain doors locked or only open for certain people. People will be able to hack them, but you'll be able to potentially detect intruders. Going to be much more a problem, stowaways, if you're trying to run a big ship with minimal or no crew, just yourself. How do you think the Mako's camera system will work? We're not entirely sure. So it could literally just be you can do missions with it and it can record like a remote turret, and you have to just capture info or whatever to complete a mission. It could potentially, with the render to texture system, broadcast outside of the game or stream to other people's feeds if they got Moby glasses open or TVs in their ships and stuff, and you might get in-game credits for the more people that are watching you, things like that. There's loads of stuff they could do with it. There has been zero movement on Squadron 42 mission, not feature roadmap. Should we be concerned? No. I think it's all going as intended. You're talking about the mission side of stuff. I wouldn't expect that to jump up much till sort of like towards the end of this year. Would you replace an Endeavour for an 890 jump? It depends what modules I had for the Endeavour and what I want to ship for. If it's for exploration, it's a much harder choice because I think the 890 jump and the Endeavour are going to be great for exploration. But it then depends on whether you want to do it in style, want to do the more touring-y, VIP exploration, or if you want to do the sort of like more sciencey based exploration. What are you most excited for in 3.5? There's a few things. New flight model probably the most. ArcCorp, DNA stuff. Will I be able to manually transport my cargo from the ship, the vehicle, like the forklift, the cargo at some stations, maybe my own Starbucks or any cities? We don't know exactly how cargo moving is going to work when it comes to ships and buying and selling cargo. We do know that the Argo SRV, one of its jobs and roles is to put large, or will it be able to put large cargo containers on like the hull C, D, and E. But they haven't 100% decided how they're going to do cargo loading and unloading when it comes to purchasing and selling. So I don't know yet. Do you still hurt the Reliant? Yes. The ship I dislike the most. If the planets orbit the sun, we'll be able to stop near a planet and it will move away towards us and eventually it will be locked in its gravity and drop. Good question. I said that earlier, basically. We don't know how it's going to work. I suspect that around a planet, as soon as you're within a certain distance of it, you're sort of like traveling with the planet. Rather than getting... So the planet will be no longer moving into you, you'll be moving with it. Rather than in its gravity and being pulled down, even you'll just be in like a higher orbit. Well, not even an orbit, you'll be just there, floating with it. That's the probably best way they could do it. Or easiest way they could do it. Other than it's their own sort of like self-contained physics containers. Thank you very much for the love, by the way. I appreciate it. I've got a very sore sort of like my liver and kidneys are at the moment, probably because I was drinking and dancing, and I'm unfit. While most / all ships will be available in game, what do you think will be limited rare? But lots of them will be limited and rare. More alien ships, typically like the Banu Defender and Merchantman. Military ships will be more limited and more rare. Capital ships, certainly. Luxury ships, there's huge amounts that will be more limited and rare. And rarity will fluctuate from ship to ship as well. There's loads going on, and from time to time, it's going to be a dynamic economy. Do you think that long-range courier missions, box and drug missions, will eventually scale dynamically in payout based on changing travel times as orbits close on each other? I don't know. They do want a clever dynamic system, but I don't think we're going to see it too crazy when it comes to then. Do they have to scale the missions too much? Work out the distance it would travel. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they would have decided that either. How are stars being implemented in Star Citizen? Will they be physically existing, be massive in scale and burn you up if you get too close, or be more hand-wavy? So, stars are massive in the game. Like, they are 1-to-1 scale, and planets are 1/6 scale, and then the distance between objects is 1/10 scale in a solar system. I don't know if a star will burn you up. I think it will, because in lore they've got like solar flares and more dangerous stars that they talk about. So I'm expecting that they will just be, if you get close to a star, it starts damaging you. If you get too close, fucking explode. I'm okay today. I'm a little bit hungover. I'm not going to be on for a huge amount of time, but I wanted to say hi. Tomorrow we've got a monthly report coming out. It's going to be exciting, or at least going to be informative, which is what I like. What else have we got this week? When we're around the verse down, it's going to be about. We've got a reverse verse down, and all that's going to be about. Got a St. Patrick's Day promotion and contest, so we might see like another St. Patrick's Day ship, or the Constellation Emerald go on sale again. There's also a panel, the business of fun designing a design culture. I'll see if it's any good, if it gives any tangible information about Star Citizen. That panel at SXSW, whatever the fuck convention that is, by Southwest. Southwest. Caterpillar is much lighter than other ships of the same class. May it be the best big cargo ship in Atmo when the new flight model goes live? Yeah, probably actually. Probably. I've been given Star Citizen a break for around the last 4 months. Anything major get announced or delayed? The only real thing that's got delayed has been the planning Merchantman is now pushed back to 3.6. Or what else has changed over the last 4 months? How much do you think they'll delve into making more ground vehicle concepts? I think we'll see a load of ground vehicles when they need to flesh out the verse. I think we'll see military vehicles, utility vehicles, lots of different things. Watching the footage reminds me we're not there yet. That is true. However, I think if they had made this now with their current tech, this would look a billion times better. It'd be crazy as well. Hello. It's not just about those the other publishers and developers' budgets. It's about their infrastructure. They have a lot of stuff pre-set up, have a lot more resources readily available, and then obviously advertising and stuff, partly based on loyalty and things like that already. They have a lot of stuff just set up already. Do you think like a dedicated medical ship that slots between the Apollo and Endeavour and a bit more armour is possible, character-sized, focusing on supporting a fleet fight? Maybe. It makes sense to have sort of like a medium medical ship, potentially larger than the Apollo. However, I think it will probably more likely to see modules for some of the other ships to give them medical bays to allow them to do that. Question was, is there anything I should look forward to currently in Star Citizen? 3.5 comes out soon, which should be pretty cool. But at the moment, what you want to do is when you're in game, fly around for a little bit, and then go to Hurston, and then go and land at Lawville on Hurston. That will make you go, fucking wow. Okay? And then travel around Hurston on the transit system. Not the most exciting thing, but it is so fucking beautiful. I hope they will add in some exploration incentives, aka loot, this year, making exploring actually worth it. When they've got physical inventories and full persistence, I suspect loot will come in around that time as well. They have said that it would take a heck of a lot of work to create functioning mirrors so that they can reflect everything in the Oculus so well. So there's multiple ways they can do mirrors. They can actually have them as a camera, and if they can make it light, that literally projects back while it's filming, if they can make that lightweight enough, then they can do mirrors very well. It's all about resource management when it comes to that, budgets. Do you think we'll see the Star Runner this year? I think we'll see them work on the Star Runner this year. It won't be flyable this year. Do you think more medium fighters, possibly older ones, are needed as the Hornet is currently the main medium fighter? We actually have a reasonable amount of medium fighters. Obviously, there's lots of variants of the Hornet. There's the Santoki, there's the Saber, and then we've got lots of light ones and heavy ones as well. I've got the Buccaneer as obviously for another main fighter, medium fighter. I think we'll see some more. I don't think they need more. Do I think the Merchantman will go up in price? Yes, at some point. It's going to be a massive ship. Since it's viable, it will definitely go up in price. Do you think we need to see some definition of the... Do you think we might see some definition of the Redeemer gunship this year? I think we'll see some information on it. We know it's going to be a gunship now, rather than a dropship. And I suspect they'll start talking about it. It might get reconcepted this year. Go on like reconcept sale. Question more specific. The 890 jump is too big for current landing pads and hangars. Any rumour on what locations will be added or changed to allow the 890 jump to spawn and refuel? Is it going to be too big? It's going to be 200 meters. How big is the reclaimer? Yeah, it is probably going to be too big, isn't it? So they are working on ship-to-station docking. I believe that was coming later in the year. They're going to need some way of spawning it. Either they'll make the pads larger, either it will just fit on the pads somehow miraculously, or it will be... Maybe it will be able to be spawnable on the ArcCorp pad, or something like that. Maybe there's a pad big enough there. Good point, though. I didn't even think of that. I own 2 ships. They don't appear in Arena Commander. It's like I don't own any ships. So you do get loaner ships typically. So you should have some ships in Arena Commander. You might not have your large ships, like if it's a Reclaimer, you won't have that in Arena Commander. For combat, basically, Arena Commander. How good do I expect the character durability to be? Pretty high. It's stamina and durability pretty damn high. It needs to be able to go for long periods of time. It needs to be able to repel attacks. It needs to be able to survive environmental stuff as well as being just attacked by weird aliens. Should we see some exploration incentive? We've already talked about that. Would there be a definite advantage using... actually, have we talked about that? We see some exploration incentives such as loot, ship parts we can find while exploring. Yeah, there's definitely going to be lootable items eventually. Things that you're supposed to scan down, hideouts you'll be able to find. You'll be able to loot stuff off people, ships, down ships, derelicts, things like that. So yeah. Will the players be able to land on a moon or a planet? Yes, I believe so. Getting out of the atmosphere of certain moons and planets might be more difficult though. Would there be a definite advantage using an 890 jump over a 600i over a Carrack other than Corinthian leather and shit? What about an Endeavour? If the Carrack is the ultimate, why use the others? The Carrack is potentially more focused on certain roles than others. So Carrack is expedition, sort of going to the far edges of space and that sort of stuff, and scanning things down because of that, going to the very edge of systems, and then just going further than that, very long range. The 600i obviously is smaller, more mobile, and the 890 jump, I mean, these are luxury touring ships. They might have VIP-based missions that aren't exploration, and exploration is more of a side note with the 600i and the 890 jump, whereas the Carrack is focused on exploration and expedition. In your A90 video, you mentioned that the 300i should still be able to fit in the hangar. Yeah, it should be the new one as well. A fighter-size ship, medium fighter-size. Will my 1080 Ti be enough when the game is finished? Yes. I'm saying that with a near level of certainty because, I mean, I've got a 1080 Ti now and I think they're amazing. Any idea as to when Shadow PC is coming to the rest of the US, specifically Washington? You'll have to ask them, but I will ask them as well. I'll see if I can get some information. Should we see some exploration incentives such as loot, ship parts? We talked about that. How do you expect mission to be done in ArcCorp considering the whole planet is a city? So, I mean, the missions might be around the moons. There might be some stuff to do in the city. There might you'll be able to land on the buildings around the planet as well that are above the no-fly zone. But they could just have a load of the missions in ArcCorp lead you to other places and points of interest around ArcCorp. It's sort of like, but not in ArcCorp, like asteroid fields and derelicts and stuff nearby. Why do we love your face? Because you're only human. Is the medical bay just for respawning? Is there other medical functionality mechanics we know of? Yes. So medical bays are going to typically be able to heal 3 tiers of wound. Tier 3, which is minor injuries and sort of like keeping people stable. Tier 2, which is crippled limbs. And Tier 3, which is near death. Tier 1, near death. Tier 2, crippled limbs. Tier 3, minor injuries. The Tier 1 stuff may allow you to respawn. That will be limited if they do. They haven't 100% confirmed everything yet. Will we see persistence in 2019? If you're talking about full persistence, it's a possibility towards the end of the year that we'd see like some of the first implementations. When do you think the ships, but it's more likely next year now. When do you think ships that are not on sale, like the Reliance and Mako, will go back on sale with 3.5 going live? yeah, ship to station dockings for 3.8. So there needs to be somewhere to spawn and use the 890 jump. I expect that will probably be ArcCorp thinking about it. Although they got the exteriors. Okay, so this is something as well. With 3.6, where the 890 jump is coming, they are doing the rest stop exterior variations, so we might see larger landing pads. That is also a potential. Or we might see a way, in a temporary way, of just spawning these ships in a designated spawning zone near stations. Another way they could do it. Question: 890 jump, Nicaragua, or Endeavour, all the modules, and the Phoenix? Oh! I think for me, the 890 jump and the Carrack. But the Endeavour with all the modules is pretty sexy. Like, that's enticing me as a content creator, because that's a lot of different stuff I can do with that. So I'll potentially appear still on the Redacted podcast, Green Fox Leader. I appreciate you saying you missed me on that. I might actually start, we can talk about this a little bit, I might actually start doing my own podcast. Now, if I do my own podcast, just out of curiosity, how would people like that done? Would they want just me chatting about some topics directly into the camera? So that's just like my videos though, but it'd be like an hour. I could take lots of questions. I mean, it'd be like what we're doing here, really, but just some more sort of focused topics. Would you like guests on, a couple of guests on each week? Would you like them fixed, sort of like hosts, like we did on Redacted? Like a mixture of fixed and guest people? Is it all quite okay just to be talking about what's happening in the community and news and discussing stuff and taking questions from chat live? Or do you want more of a special, well, like, oh, yeah, you have to add something to it, otherwise you're just doing the same things as your videos and your streams anyway, so you have to try and interview devs or something like that. I'm curious on what you guys want with that, because I'd start happily doing a podcast again soon. Planning a 6-week trip to India in the near future. Do you know if Shadow would work there? Play Star Citizen on my wimpy laptop. I don't know coverage-wise in India. I'm sorry. I suspect it would work. You will have to poke Shadow, because they might say, oh no, it doesn't work, particularly in this country, or they say, oh, it's gonna, the latency is going to be awful or something. So give them a poke. There is a bug preventing ships from showing up in Arena Commander. I had to reset my account to get them back. Oh, is that just a bug? Okay. I apologise. I misunderstood the question. Board, do you have a monocle? As working mirror tech. I just think... I think they just do want to waste the resources. It's pronounced... Jesus. Jesus. Are you worried about the new gimbal assist being too easy? How are they going to balance time to kill? There's going to be higher times to kill. There's going to be physicalized components. Ships aren't going to have health pools anymore. You're going to be targeting individual components and systems and thrusters and things to destroy, disable ships, or the cockpit or whatever, to try and kill the pilot. I'm not worried about the gimbal assist being too easy. I suspect it will have its uses, but I am expecting manual gimbal control to still be far more precise, especially when you're trying to take out specific systems, and it's not going to have as much angular range as manual made. When can we expect vehicles to be able to be readily loaded onto vehicles as Cyclone, Connie Dragonfly, Cutlass? There's going to be a way, almost certainly this year, where you'll be able to spawn, when you spawn a sort of like vehicle, a ship, you'll be able to spawn a vehicle directly into it. I'm not sure when that's coming out. I think it's going to be this year. How's your father doing? Better, I hope. He's recovered nicely from his operation. His cancer has moved to his lymph nodes. He's going to talk to the oncologist to work out what the next step is. Hopefully it will be solvable though. Would you like Star Citizen to have more PvP or more PvE gameplay? I'd like it to have more gameplay in both aspects at the moment. It's very, it's lacking. When is ship armor expected to properly be implemented? Oh, good point. Don't 100% know, because at the moment it's obviously it's just done as a multiplier. Don't know. How is exploration going to work? Are we required to find a spot to jump to, or are we able to jump randomly? We don't know. Expecting that it's going to become lots of shapes and sizes exploration. Includes sort of like surveying and stuff like that as well. But I'm expecting to have long range scans. We're able to scan and find little blobs of interest, work out sort of like, oh, how interesting is this? I can see different signatures here, and then jump to those locations in quantum travel, and then get further and further out in the system. We might be able to jump to a point we just go, oh, I want to go here. And I suspect that there'll be some set points and then some things that you could scan down. When can we expect the BoredGamer head stress balls to go on sale? Get like a stress ball, the BoredGamer logo. Or just of my head. We'll be able to swap out thrusters or engines and be able to make a ship considerably faster or more nimble than stock. Yes. You hosting guests with occasional prepared comments and occasional call-ins. So, different guests every week. The only guests should be beautiful women. That can be arranged. I can get Kit and Zin on every week. Like, it answers Star Citizen questions. Floorboard, the issue I have with Zin, DC, Kit, and people like that on a podcast at the moment is they don't actually know that much about Star Citizen yet. Zin will soon be very, very clued up with Star Citizen. Actually, probably going to be working for me. DC will, Deathcore will, once the game's got a bit more meat to it, and he can do some PvP. He likes eating the salty tears of enemies. He'll wait for people to badmouth him in chat and then go and hunt them. So he needs that sort of key gameplay. Okay. Call-in show for the fans. Like Twerks answer the call. I just feel like I'd have to talk to Twerk before I did something like that. Otherwise, like, you copy my idea. Because it would be a direct copy of his idea. Obviously, it's lots of other people do it, and he's not going to be too pissed or anything. And we're pretty damn good friends. But, okay. I'll keep this all in mind. Guests at least occasionally and have a podcast available on YouTube as well. Yes, we can do that. I like podcasts and would listen to your show, but also would like it on YouTube when I'm home. Yeah. It'd be uploaded everywhere anyway. Are you a man or a machine? How are you able to answer questions as quickly as we ask them? I mean, I'm a few minutes behind, aren't I? But so the good thing about Star Citizen when I got involved with it in like 2013 or so, was that it was easy to learn what was going on with everything, and now it's just topping up my knowledge. So as long as I watch and read stuff they put out, I'm always understanding what's going on. And I can answer questions pretty easily. Solo podcasting can be rough. Plus, you want to offer content that you don't already offer on YouTube to incentivize people to consume both. That is true. Yes. Otherwise, I'm just literally doing the same thing and calling it a podcast. Or I like the idea of calling questions, but you need staff for that to assist with call prep. Well, Zina will be working for me. So I can literally get her to do it. And I've got some mods. I can incentivize my mods to do it a bit more. Like I've got some pretty damn fucking good mods, but I am super sort of like laissez-faire when it comes to regulating them. It's sort of like, thanks, do that for me. Okay. So people like the idea of call-ins. So I can do a more organized call-in and interactive podcast, I suppose, taking questions regularly from my comments and a question feed that people can put into, and then try and find the answers to that. So I can do it as like a mixture of calling all devs, a podcast, a call-in show, and the question sections are redacted and sort of like splash them all together into a podcast. I'll put up a poll on the Twitter or on my YouTube or something. Will there be drones of different types, like fighting and med drones, not just repair? Rearm, refuel, repair, scouting, potentially combat drones. There's going to be lots of different types, yes. Will we get C4 with remote detonators or laser trip mines? Probably, Jeff. That's the sort of stuff we'll see as gadgets in the game. What planet is that behind me? That's Lear 3. This is the 2016 V2 Procedural Planets demo. Just wanted to shove it off again. They haven't worked on Lear 3 for the last 2 years, though, specifically. However, they have been improving all of their tech and all of their biomes and all their procedural generation across the board. So, in that sense, they have. Best guess when PTU released to subscribers? Between the 21st and 28th of March. My best guess for first wave? Oh, for... Any word on peripherals like keyboard, HOTAS, camera? They talked about a few years ago. Once Squadron 42 is out, I think Sandy will probably revisit it. They're probably looking at the moment, browsing. They want to, if they get a partner, they want to make sure that that partner is a good fit, because they've had problems in the past with Ilphonic and Logitech, obviously. Well, Mad Cats. I don't know why I prefer watching you on Twitch instead of YouTube. People prefer different platforms. We'll get laser targeting systems on our rifles that can target ground targets for bombers and or ships that can shoot ground targets from orbit. Potentially, Jeff, I expect we'll be able to laser targets like that, and it will just increase massively their EM or IR signature or make them targetable. I think that's a really good idea. That would add quite a lot of intrigue to me to base gameplay and targets like that on the ground. Yeah, I do expect we'll get some stuff like that. I think there will be probably targeting ships and targeting vehicles that are is literally there to laze targets or to increase the signature of another target. Like that, your own calling all devs, hosted by an outside interviewer. I'll put all this down on paper in a minute. After I get off it, what I'll do is when I'm done here, I will go put some food in the oven, and then write this, or commit this to paper, and then potentially later on this evening get a poll out just to see people's feedback on that, because this is all good ideas and good talking it through. I mean, I'm going to be massively community driven. Also, I might do some tests next week, potentially even this week, gameplay wise, if people are on Discord during the day, sort of like between 1 PM and 6 PM UTC, I'll be around the Discord playing some Star Citizen, trying to get some footage. That's going to be very active after 3.5 comes out with my BoredGamer organisation. I will go through that today as well and accept everyone that's joined that. It's going to be a social org. There's not going to be any commitments for that other than the commitments you sort of like agree to. And what I mean by that is I'll say, we're doing this. We're going to do this like gameplay thing. We're going to do a shipboarding action. I need people to listen like soldiers, and then there'll be a like slightly competitive thing going on, but I don't want people to ruin it if possible. There'll be some stuff that's pretty chaotic and we'll just do, but I want some more organised stuff as well. So if you commit to something and say that you want to do it like that, make sure you do it like that. Otherwise that'll annoy me and I'll go, well, you're banned from future things. However, I'm going to be reasonably reasonable. If someone does something wrong by accident, I don't give a fuck. But just, yeah. If we have 2 game packages, can we have one as an NPC to escort us, and then Agent Smith if combat starts? They still haven't really 100% decided what they're going to do with agent smithing. We talked about it a couple of times. They basically said probably not agent smithing to NPCs anymore, but we don't know. Might change that again. And we don't know if game packages are going to allow you to have NPCs on your account free or anything like that. They don't seem to have 100% decided on that yet. Do you think the toilets on ships got out of control? No? think they're going to go out of control once they have zero gravity and water tech working together. When do you think we will have any creatures and animals in the PU? Do you think they will be killable by players? I think you're going to have to hunt creatures on planets, yes. I'm not sure what we're going to have in regards to pets, but I'm expecting that we'll have terrariums and more fish tanks and aesthetic pets, so like a parrot on your shoulder, maybe the first iterations of them. They've briefly talked about maybe being able to capture animals on planets, but you'd have to like put them in a cargo crate and have it like produce the atmosphere the planet was caught on and things like that, maybe. So we don't 100% know, but I do believe that big game hunting will be a thing that players do. Podcast, because it's not like you have anything else on your plate, right? Well, I'm looking for content to do, and podcast content and this sort of stuff that I'm doing now is actually pretty easy for me. It's literally just talking and responding to the chat. I don't have to think and research. It's already there. Doing something like the 890 jump video, that took about 8 hours research and then maybe an hour's editing. I'm not great at editing, but I am very fast at editing. It's one of the things I'm hoping Zin will be able to be pretty good at, is that she'll develop an editing style. I know you're under NDA, but do you personally like the new flight model so far? From what I've seen of it, from RTV, I think it's got potential, and I think once it's been refined a bit, it's probably going to be pretty good. But we're not going to know what that's like for combat, potentially until 3.6, until it's balanced. As I said, I think some people are going to be like, yeah, this is cool. Some people are going to really like it. And there's going to be a small vocal minority, probably, they're going to be really loud about it. However, if it's a buggy piece of shit, once we get it into our hands, it doesn't matter if the flight model's good. If it's buggy, it's going to be hated. So let's hope they get all the bugs and stuff sorted. Board, please, what is your opinion on the number of players needed for single battle Star Citizen? It's obvious that the zoom of Star Citizen is very different, let's say, than Eve. Thank you. About the number of players needed in a single battle. I mean, I don't think you're going to see many battles beyond like a couple of 100 ships. I think that's a lot of ships as well, because you'll be fighting in different sectors and zones and areas of operation. But if the server treats every individual ship as a single entity, and then can have a server on that ship controlling each person and stuff, or allowing each person there, then they can probably allow maybe like 500 or so or whatever. It's because that's when you're having those ship battles, they're going to be on huge areas of space. They're not going to be super condensed. But yeah, that might allow for massively scalable battles because of the size of space. They break it up into theaters. They could have one of the other things they could have as well to help mitigate huge amounts of players in a little tiny area is have sort of like if too many people are warping in, then it sort of like gives the area of space, it becomes more unstable or something like that. There's like quantum, I don't know, does something to quantum drives so you can't constantly quantum into a certain area, like weakens space, or it's dangerous to do that, or something like that. Quantum storms. There's lots of stuff they can do to mitigate lots of people moving into an area together, so that you would have lots of you could have tens of thousands of ships still fighting. They'd just be fighting across lots of theaters simultaneously. Do you see what I mean? But we'll have to see how they do it in the future. I suspect they will explore all options before they commit to anything. Do you think pets will always have to be purchased, or can we catch them and train one? I don't know. I suspect there may be some pets that we capture. Pokemon. Is there going to be a new cargo ship this month? Maybe. We might see the 335C. That's entirely rumoured pretty much by me and Reddit. There's no confirmation or anything like that. We could see some new ships. I am expecting a new concept or flyable ship at the end of the month because it fits their concept sale pattern. End of March. Need the Adventures of BoredGamer, a weekly TV series. We'll definitely have the Adventures of BoredGamer. I've been watching loads of Rust videos recently for gameplay. and I think I'm going to do similar styled sort of Rust gameplay, playing through the missions, talking about my daily experiences in a weekly or twice weekly sort of series. Going to be a new cargo ship this month. Talked about that. With swimming planned for Q3, do you think it's one of the concept ships? Will be a watercraft of some kind. They did say they wanted to have boats, so maybe. Do you reckon Cloud Imperium can pull off incentivizing big orgs to use varied and balanced fleets in battles? Do you reckon we'll have 100 arrows flying around? Yeah, I mean, I suspect there will be certain ships, like hammerheads, might be incredibly effective against arrows, and things like that. So I do think it's going to be rock, paper, scissors. So that will incentivize people to use balanced fleets, potentially. Just joined the channel. Do you think we have a chance of seeing the Mercury Star Runner this year? No. I think it'll be next year. We'll have it in-game flyable. I think they'll start working on it this year, though. Great idea about the instability of crowded sectors. Thank you for your answer, Board. Well, it's just ideas. I mean, there's loads of options they can go through to make sure that if whatever their bottleneck is, they need to go, well, that's the bottleneck. What do we do if more players want to go there? And it could be a performance bottleneck. It could be a server bottleneck. It could be lots of different things that bottleneck, but they need to work out what they do if something does potentially go beyond that. So that's just a random idea off the top of my fucking head. But I suspect they'll come up with some good ones as well. Probably, but hopefully better. What is the point of toilets if there's going to be a hunger system similar to oxygen? I mean, it's your NPCs are going to basically, when they're off duty or whatever, if you've got NPC crew, they're going to be eating, sleeping, drinking, weeing, all that sort of stuff, using the facilities. And I think that there'll be a cleanliness level, which will also be showering, pooing, weeing, that players have as well, as part of the light survival mechanics. What do you think about the Critical Role Kickstarter? If you don't know, look up Critical Role. I've heard of Critical Role. Look it up now, though. Looking this up the other day. Which Critical Role are we talking about? There's Legend of Vox Machinima animated special, and there's Critical Role, isn't that the voice actors that do D&D? Is that Critical Role? They've got some quite interesting little models. I'll have a look at that properly later. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Little models. Does CI, Clan Imperium, typically do April Fool's Day shenanigans? Yes. They've had floating fish floating around hangars before and things like that. Do you think CIG will implement a share mechanic for people with multiple accounts so they can share perks, back rewards, and ships? I think that you'll be able to do that in game. You'll be able to. There'll be a system for that in game. The non-combat 890 jump has a med bay. Why don't all larger ships have med bays? Claimer, Hammerhead. Because that might not necessarily be their focus. The 890 is much more sort of like larger to start with, and might need that med bay for its VIPs or whatever. The Reclaimer, I mean, it would be good that if the Reclaimer and the Hammerhead had one. It would be good if all the ships had med bays. Do you see what I mean? Like they need to focus on certain areas for certain ships. There'll be modular changes for some of the ships as well, so you might be able to put a med bay in. Will we be able to take our bikes to the streets of ArcCorp? Don't know. I don't think so. There is a road system there, a highway system, and you will be travelling by hoverbus, but you might be able to travel on it yourself. I'm hoping you can, but it's not something they said you'd be able to do. Do you think a passenger version of the 300 series might be a good idea. Maybe 6 seats, like a Learjet or Gulfstream. I mean, passenger version. It's like moving up to the 600i and the 890 jumps and stuff. I think it would have to be a different ship, Ted. Crusader doesn't come out this year or next. Is it reasonable to end my life to stave off the crippling depression? No, that's not reasonable to do. Fight life and claw to make sure you get to play Star Citizen. Watching how fast they were able to make that brand new helmet, why does it take a year to make a ship? Because it's not just the design of the ship, they also need to get it all working, they need to get it balanced. There's multiple layers to a ship. I mean, that model would have to go to high poly, then low poly, and then made functional, and animations work for it. A lot going on. The animated special. Okay, no, I'll check that out. I didn't realize they're going to make an animated special, but that does sound cool. Is there any point for you when Star Citizen would have too many concept ships? If they start producing like a concept ship every week and don't make any and don't finish them, yeah, then they have too many concept ships. But no, there is not too many concept ships. As long as they are producing them, as long as they are making those ships, and as long as it's not obviously dragging the development out because of it, then yeah, I'm happy with concept ships for the next 10 years, well beyond the release of the game. Do you think battle size will be more about number of ships or number of people? I think it will be down to skill, information gathering, loadouts, where you attack from, I think there's going to be so many factors. Regarding water in zero gravity, hot tub, toilets, law could say that there are very small localized gravity generators that only work on liquids, that type of thing. Well, I know they want like the water to go mental in like the swimming pools and stuff if your gravity generator goes offline. Do you think the Connie needs a forward landing gear like the Carrack? No, it works fine as it is, doesn't it? At the rate of planets being made currently, the whole universe will be done by 2030. Do you suspect we'll have a big jump in the amount of released in the next few years? Yes. They need to build out all of the tech for everything. Once the Stanton system's done, they'll go to like Magnus and Pyro, and once those are done, they'll be able to quite rapidly produce planets systems, I believe. They just need a big set of biomes, a big set of the tech for architecture and assets and stuff, and then they can use that to build out all the rest of these places. You reckon you would do some emergent gameplay, TM, where you take over a system and become like King of Pyro for a day? Yeah, we'll do some silly stuff, definitely. We'll do some emergent gameplay like that. Would you consider making an intro tutorial to some basics in the first person using your awesome face to CID how it should be done? Yowzers, I'm not necessarily amazingly professional with my videos, but I'm quick, which is what she said. And that's how it should be done. Like, CIG can get these content creators like me and Noob and people, and a lot of other fucking great ones, to make these tutorials. We just would do it because it's something that we would do for our channels. They don't have to ask us or anything. It'd be great if they did ask us and give us incentives, but they fucking don't. Let's see, count a teacup as an incentive, but that was for a studio tour. # not a shill. But yeah, so I'll obviously keep on doing tutorials. I do them for every major patch. I sort of like update mine. It's a great way of getting people to the channel. Good food and water. So actually, let me go back to that question. So I believe that CIG, if they're going to do tutorials, they should focus on the tutorials that aren't going to change much in the next like year or so. So how to enlist to the game, stuff like that. Once we've got a Squadron 42 released, probably they can do some in-game tutorials, which won't change. And if they do video tutorials, they need to get them out very quickly to make them relevant, because they're going to change after the next major patch. Or they need to do them when stuff's not going to change. But I don't want them to be focusing on doing tutorials, in my opinion, when the community will do them, if they're also going to be quite tardy with them. Should food and water work like potions in, say, like Diablo, giving you health buffs and multipliers? No, I don't think so. I think that maybe it will affect more stamina than anything else. And if you don't eat and drink for a long time, you'll start to get stamina debuffs. Any devs that left the project you wish would come back? Probably. Yeah, probably. Eric Peterson, Wingman, he's probably the biggest loss for me, because I think we'd have a lot more community engagement in addition to what we already have if he was back. Do you think CIG would be perceptive to recommendations for hull updates to RSI vessels? I think they probably will get some balance changes, some materials changes, and some little updates anyway. Always share your opinions and stuff like that, in a constructive manner, as constructive as possible. How likely do you think some sort of fan service around the time for Art Corp is released and boredom leads to, say, the G-Lock bar? We'll have to see what they've got in store for us, I suppose. I suspect there will be some interesting, cool things. They want eventually the game to be a little bit Second Life-y, sandboxy, sort of like you'll want to chill out on a planet and socialize. I think Chris Roberts is the James Halliday, the creator of the virtual world Oasis from Ready Player One. No, I mean, I love Chris Roberts' games, the previous games I've seen, and I love the Star Citizen project. And I do think Chris is a good level of genius, but James Halliday in Ready Player One was sort of like this supreme super visionary, wasn't he? After Squadron 42, what mechanic do you want to see make it to the game first? I don't know. I mean, I want a dynamic economy, I want full persistence, I want everything. I mean, there's no one thing I can think of. It's this huge amount. Will we see the adventures of Safety Boy and Arc Corp? Definitely. Typically I'll bring Safety Boy out for expos and things, but yes, we'll see him around Arc Corp, I'm sure. Fucking tip. See, that was sort of like my poke at high energy YouTubers, Safety Boy. Safety Boy coming at you! Remember to ding that bell and ring that fucking like button. Ding ding ding! If you do a tutorial, do you think it should be like the excellent part, perfect tutorials from Interplace Free Space? I can't remember those tutorials. That is too long ago. Free Space 2, however, is one of my favourite games of all time. Along with Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Quake 3, Quake 1 and 2, Battlefield 1942, Call of Duty 1 and 2, The Moon, Final Fantasy 7, Valkyrie Chronicles. I went off on a bit of a tangent there.
I'm dodging bullets like fucking
beautiful.
Neo.
Okay, I have to get some work done later, bud. Love you, Dalamars. Mwah, you're the fucking best. Not only do you do free work for me, for moderation, you also give me lots of bits of money. Look at me fake enthusiasm. I didn't realise you were donated earlier. I'm so sorry. Oh, thank you. Fucking legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. CIG should consider allocating a portion of their marketing budget to boosting and incentivizing YouTube folk and other content creators. Maybe once they've released a game. Maybe once they've got like Squadron 42 released. And then they actually have money that isn't backer money to give to YouTube and content creators. I think it would create too much friction and anger and would be very poorly looked on. It's like them giving, and also it would piss off some of the creator community because they'd be favouring some people and not others, and people would like, why am I left out? Stuff like that. So maybe once they release Squadron 42 and they're not using backer money. See what I mean? And once they're selling a product, it's They have a fuck ton of money they can draw upon, which they can go, well, we use this for whatever we want. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. And then they need to be careful about what they incentivize. Like, everything has to be fully disclosed when it comes to shit like that as well. So you need to be able to say, the CIG are paying me to do this or whatever. That needs to be 100% visible. We're going to do shit like that. So, and then people won't trust you again either. Like, you would be a shill. I mean, and even if you're, I mean, there's certainly some things they could do. I'd like more money for creating content, definitely. I mean, I just would, and I'm going to create Star Citizen content, whatever. But I don't want to take back the money. That would be fucking insane. And I'd need to see what they were going to do. What exactly that incentivization would be. You need to have to be true and honest still. I mean, because you're going to be commenting and criticizing their game sometimes. They're going to do shitty things. They're going to do things that you don't like. You're going to be talking about some controversial stuff sometimes. You need to be able to do that without that affecting your incentives, I suppose. And then even then you're going to be probably a bit biased towards stuff and not want to damage that relationship you've then built with them. So there's lots of bad points to that. How do you think organizations will be able to store resources? Will it be in an inventory, or will we have to manage physical cargo yards? I don't think you'll have to manage physical cargo yards, but I do think that some of the inventory and stuff will be physicalized in hangars and things. But I think it will be like warehouses, storehouses, and inventories there. There will be a physical location for them, but it might not be physicalized as a component or item. In your opinion, how will larger ships fare in the new flight model? They're going to be... It depends on the ship. They're going to suffer a lot more in atmosphere. They're going to be a bit more sluggish, slow, when it comes to maneuvering and agility. Make fighters and bombers and things like that and a lot more effective against them. What can you tell us about landable areas in ArcCorp? Is most of the planet just eye candy from a distance, or can we explore in the same way as Hurston? I imagine a lot of it's off limits, except for points of interest like quantum travel. Okay, so ArcCorp, it's got quite a low shield over the entire planet, so you're very, very close to the surface, like 400 meters or so. There's going to be no fly zone. However, there's going to be buildings that come up above that, and you'll be able to land on those buildings. Eventually, some of those buildings might be have physicalized interiors or be used for missions and stuff. There's going to be a landing zone, which is the spaceport. It's like a more runway-looking spaceport from what we've seen, but it's going to have the landable hangars on still. And then from that, there's their transit system, which is a big highway with a sort of like hover bus that will take you, or shuttle bus, that will take you from that detached spaceport to Area 18. And that's how you'll typically be getting to Area 18. And there's going to be the sort of like the main social and shopping hub and the mission givers and stuff like that there. And there's also potentially going to be other areas that you'll be able to go to in the future, like Area 17 and some other locations across the planet that you'd probably use the transit system to get to again. Can safety be ironically dangerous like Jim Carrey's Fire Marshal Bill, where you're always trying to point out how to be sane, but getting people hurt and killed in the progress? Yeah, definitely. It's going to be... Safety Boy will be a fucking idiot. Don't you worry. Working on my new computer build for 2K high level. Should I wait for new Ryzen's and Navi? You want to wait as long as you can. I mean, there's going to be another generation of Intel as well. Another, I suspect we'll see this year, another NVIDIA GeForce card. So wait as long as you can. My recommendation. Do you think the ship build team working on the Idris will move to the Polaris when they finish with the Idris this year? I can't remember the order of ships they're working on stuff. Put it down in my notes somewhere, but it would take me fucking ages to pull it out. I do think they are going to be working on Polaris this year, but I can't remember. Sorry, I can't remember. We already have a bunch of tinfoil hat wearers who are convinced that Star Citizen streamers are all paid. Well, okay, so I mean, some of the points that people bring across with the streamers being paid and stuff was obviously I'm not paid. I never have been paid, and I can't talk with 100% certainty that no one else has been. I can say with a very high probability they haven't. I certainly haven't heard anything, and I would have been told by some of them for sure. But they'll say you get paid in kind. So this would be like trips to Gamescom, CitizenCon, that they pay the streamers to go out. Well, they pay for their flights or whatever, or the PCs that some streamers got. I actually think that Intel paid for all of that, potentially in both circumstances. But you still get told that you're a shill because of that, or you're not to be trusted because of that. And that's because people think that that sort of thing means that you are then untrustworthy, whatever. I, however, have not accepted anything like that. So, fuck you. Anyone that says I'm a shill. Will we be able to sell our hangars in one area and pay a premium to get a new hangar in a different location? I believe so. I'm not sure if it's going to be purchasing of hangars or rental of hangars, though. Lemons, if you're ejected in a no-fly zone, would you get out? Eject, and then you'd hit the shield and die. Probably. Good question. I think you hit the shield and die rather than just pass through it because you're a human. But almost certainly you'll just hit, even if you just hit the floor, you'd die at the moment. There isn't ways of really surviving properly. I mean, sometimes you just do because buggy game. Have they pushed back the full persistence tech? I can't see it on the 2019 roadmap. Yeah, so we're expecting it next year now, but it might make it in by the end of this year. When do I think the game will be released? As I said a couple of times now, they are releasing Squadron 42, trying to release it in 2020, Episode 1. Star Citizen, they're planning to release major update every 3 months indefinitely. And I think that once there is no more resets, we can consider the game live. That'll be after server meshing. Well, after full persistence, then probably after server meshing. I think that's probably what we should say. And then the game's sort of live. There's lots of stuff there still need to do, but it will be live. And I'm thinking that we'll start to see sort of like the some of those the full persistence done maybe, or in like first steps of server meshing end of 2021, 2022 sort of time. I do have a cup and saucer. That does make me a shill. I can put on a different loop. Yeah, I've got the power. That's a picture of me. There you go. Are you ready to have a bunch of female characters running around with men's voices? Yeah, I am. You can put female voices on. I got a voice changer. If you want to. I mean, it's not going to ruin my immersion too much. I mean, I am playing a computer game, so it's all good. Can we fly out of the no-fly zone and walk into the no-fly zone and see what happens? I mean, people sort of do try and do that on Hurston. You can do some interesting things in Lorville. I suspect there will be bugs and glitches and stuff so that you can go through and walk around areas you're not supposed to be able to walk around on ArcCorp, yes. We'll give it a go. How large is the map? What do you mean? It's big. But you're talking about the whole gameplay planned area of what? A planet? The system, Stanton? Star Citizen? It's huge. All of those individual ones are huge. Does the team from the Carrack or the team from the Defender will build the Merchantman? They might reform teams. They might reform the teams for those kind of projects. We'll get some people that are working on the Defender, some people on the Carrack, whatever. Now there are caves. Might they put Skyrim on a moon site? Where they? Yes. I do like the idea of having caves. Definitely. Right. Are there any more questions? Because if not, I'm going to get some grub and have a little resty poos, and then pen down my ideas for the podcast and get a survey up. But the very end of the cold that I had, and also being hungover together, is not helpful. I think characters should actually be able to use Widow or other illicit drugs with effects. Maybe. I mean, maybe they could just give you, like, if you haven't eaten or drunk or whatever, they could just refresh your stamina or something. Give you blurry vision briefly or something. They might do something like that. I mean, you know, you can get drunk in the game, so. What other ship company do you think could make a competitive carrier to the Kraken? I don't know. I mean, any of the ships could do it. Probably not Origin. What do you think of a universe-wide battle royale mode? I think it would be a bit silly. Well, I mean, if you did the circles, right? I mean, I suspect that if there's a solid modding community for the game eventually, then stuff like that will be done. A universe battle royale mode. Will there be any new gameplay loops with the new patch? Well, there'll be obviously new gameplay area, new missions and stuff. So can't discount that as part of the gameplay loop. Gameplay, I think there are lots of new bounty hunter stuff as well. It's a lot of improvements more than anything else. And that new gameplay area. I don't think if there's actually any like full-on new gameplay loops. I don't think there is. Just loads of improvements. My characters, Arc Corp, new flight model. I mean, flight model is massive. Projectile manager, stuff like that. What am I going to eat? Don't know. I got a Tesco's delivery earlier today, so I've got a lot of nice food in the fridge. I'm trying to eat a bit more healthy. I want to deal with my cholesterol and fatty liver. Do you think caves will mask the signature of the ship? Yes. And vehicle, I think. The environmentals and walls and things being put between you will mask signatures. Favorite current and favorite upcoming ships. So Saber's pretty high on the list. Reclaimer I love. I'm really looking forward to the 890 jump and to the Carrack and to the Banner Merchantman. Do you know if they're going to update tutorials for the new flight models soon after 3.5 goes to PU? Well, that's what I was having a rant about the other day. It's like they need to do that. If they're going to maintain tutorials, they need to do them quickly, straight away. But I'll get some tutorials out, and I'm sure a lot of other people will as well. No more than 9 grams of sugar daily. But I have very little sugar. I have sugar in my tea. That's about it, and I don't have processed foods. The only like starchy thing I have would be rice. I like my rice. But I'll analyze my diet at some point. The thing that it's bad for me diet wise is that it's just the exercise really. It's like I'm incredibly sedentary. I'm at the computer reading, writing, playing, creating videos and shit just all the time. What do you think the St. Patrick's promotion will be? It could be for the Constellation Emerald again, or there might be some other Emerald, so green ships, or some ships on sale. Might be some skins on sale. But yeah. Okay, so I'll look at doing something, chatting more about doing a podcast later today. I'll pen down what people's suggestions were, so like recording all devs and some of the stuff from Redacted and some of the stuff from Answer the Call that Twerk did. Okay, and I'll look at getting different guests in each week, but maybe a couple of one person regularly or something. I don't know. I'll write it all down. We'll work it out from there. We'll do a bit more sort of like chatting about it. Hey, Bored, love your show. Cannot wait to see you in the verse. We're going to have to. We would love to know when we can expect to fly our Polaris. Oh my god, I want the Polaris so bad as well. Like, Polaris is a fucking cool ship. I'm expecting middle of next year for Polaris. Maybe more towards the end of next year. Would you think they'll have enough assets to start fast tracking the creation of planetary systems? Probably after they finish the Magnus and Proto systems. They'll be able to make systems a lot quicker. Free weights given by your desk. I literally have free weights just by my desk, and I do use them. I do deadlifts and free weights, and I've got a treadmill. I do half an hour run on that a day. Oh, I haven't done it for the last 2 days. So I have a single small spoonful of sugar in a tea. I probably have 6 cups of tea a day. Thank you very much for all the love and everything. Sorry, it's gone a bit off topic, but I was just about to pop off and go nom nom. But when I answer the rest of these questions, do you think it would make sense to implement a store credit for organisations to let players crowdfund capital ships? Yeah, I suspect there will be organisation tools that allow that. It might be a tax system or whatever. I also expect that there's going to be people lending vast quantities of UEC to each other in game. There might be a contract system for that, or it might be enforced by players outside of the game, or inside of the game, but with mechanics that they develop themselves. Like they will just send an orc to hunt you repeatedly until you pay them back. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the love. Thank you. Any other questions before I go? I'm going to look to see who else is streaming. See if anyone... God, no. Bitch, that's the one. Double check to make sure none of my no. Load of we will host Moist Needle in a second because I love his face. But I certainly don't have 40 grams of sugar in the tea. I will measure it out. I suspect it's like up to 15 grams. But yes, cool. Fast travel, like Quamos, or high current space. Yeah, I suspect we will see jump points in systems that just are mini jumps or connect to other systems long distances away that aren't currently listed. I suspect there will be trackable down and that sort of stuff. That'll be part of the exploration mechanic. No worries. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I love your faces. Thank you for joining me today. If you want to further support the channel, please click the join button underneath the YouTube videos. That allows you to pay a little tiny bit amount each month. And you get some like emotes and little BoredGamer fucking badges that you can put in the chat or on any video as well. And it really helps me out. There's also going to be more and more stuff going in there, lots more sort of like little VIP extras. There is exclusive content and that sort of stuff, and exclusive polls and videos that I do for that as well. It's basically the same for YouTube, for Patreon, and for donations and all that sort of jazz as well. Feel free to give me anything you want, even if it's feedback or love or whatever. It's all super appreciated. You can contact me on contact@boredgamer.co.uk. Or the discord.gg/boredgamer. Just pick me on either of those mediums if you want to chat about anything, want to bring something to my attention, got any questions. I will get some stuff up about the podcast later today, probably, as long as I don't feel too rough. Yeah, thanks very much for joining me today. Love you guys, and peace out, and all that sort of jazz. Oh, let me link Moist Needle. Boom. There we go, guys. Boom. Boom. Bam. Peace out.